deaths occurred among U.S. infants under age 1. The 2010-2011 increase for infant deaths in the spring was 1.8%, compared with a decrease of 8.37% in the preceding 14 weeks. Now, this goes along with the detection of very high levels of iodine-131 in the precipitation rain in the United States, where the normal rainfall included 2 picocuries of I-131 per liter of water. Instead, Boise, Idaho saw a measurement of 390 picocuries, Kansas City 200 picocuries, Salt Lake City 190, Jacksonville 150, Olympia, Washington 125, and Boston, way over there, far, far from Japan, at 92. So based on the continuing research, the actual death count here may be as high as 18,000, with influenza, pneumonia being up 5-fold in the period in question as a cause of death. Deaths are seen across all ages, but we continue to find that infants are hardest hit because their tissues are rapidly multiplying, they have undeveloped immune systems, and so forth and so on. Very tragic consequences for those most at risk, even as all the authorities in Japan and the U.S. ignored the problem of radiological fallout in the wake of the Fukushima meltdown disaster. They denied that a meltdown was happening, that the reactors were exposed, so on and so forth. And look at the consequences that this journal estimates with their scientific study may have occurred. Just tragic. Now, we're going to go to break, but I do want to remind you, Prison Planet TV depends on your support, not only to get the message out to people who are not yet in tune with the truth, but through your financial support as well. But you could do both in one blow by getting our discounted PrisonPlanet.tv memberships. You can share that membership with 5 other people. You can also get the InfoWarrior DVD package, 18 of Alex's films on DVDs in shiny plastic wrappers. Along with that membership, you could share with 5 other people for $129.95. Get all your Christmas shopping done at once and give the gift of truth and knowledge this Christmas instead of all the other junk you get. We'll be back after this. Stay tuned.
What's up with these sorry politicians? Lots of bark. When it's showtime, whimpering like little shih tzus. You want big cuts. Ron Paul's been screaming it for years. Budget crisis? No problem. Got $1 trillion year one. That's trillion with a T. Department of Education? Gone. Interior, Energy, HUD, Commerce? Gone. Later, bureaucrats. That's how Ron Paul rolls. Want to drain the swamp? Ron Paul. Do it.
I'm Ron Paul, and I approve this message.
If you believe in this information and want to support its viral spread, go to the InfoWars store at InfoWars.com. We've got the new G.I. Joe InfoWars t-shirts. We've got the incredible Pro Pure gravity-fed filters available at InfoWars.com in the store. We've got a new DVD, Scientists Under Attack, the Don't Tread on Me flag. We've got all sorts of different bumper stickers to help spread the rebellion virally. It's all there, wristbands, citizen rule books in every order. Order online at InfoWars.com today. The water filters, the canteens, it's all there. InfoWars.com.
Now, we are back from break on the InfoWars Nightly News. As I mentioned, we do have coming up a very powerful interview with one of the filmmakers for A Nobel Lie, as well as a member of the grand jury that investigated the Oklahoma City bombing. That, of course, is Hoppy Heidelberg. But first, a look at the situation in Syria. We have Terry Nichols' article at Voltaire.net, Free Syria Army Now Led by NATO Libya Al-Qaeda Commander. How could it be? Well, he breaks it all down here. In the wake of the Arab Spring and NATO interventions, both official and secret, Qatar seeks to impose Islamist leaders wherever possible. This strategy has led it not only to fund Muslim Brotherhood and to hand Al Jazeera over to them, but also to support Al-Qaeda mercenaries who will henceforth oversee the Free Syrian Army. However, the new scenario raises concerns in Israel and among supporters of the clash of civilizations. Then Mason goes on to discuss how there's been reports in recent months, a certain number of Arab newspapers favorable to the al-Assad administration discussing the infiltration into Syria of 600 of the 1,500 fighters from the Islamic fighting group in Libya, rebranded Al-Qaeda in Libya since November 2007. In late November 2011, Libyan press reported the attempt by the Zintan militia to detain Abdel Hakim Belhaj, the companion of Osama bin Laden and historic leader of Al-Qaeda in Libya, who became the military governor of Tripoli by the grace of NATO. The scene took place at the Tripoli airport as he was leaving for Turkey. Finally, Turkish newspapers mentioned Mr. Belhaj's presence at the Turkish Syrian. And then Mason discusses how this seems to contradict people who support the official theory. Can't understand how could Al-Qaeda be working with NATO, although for him it's further demonstration of something Alex also talks about, that Al-Qaeda are merely mercenaries for the CIA and related figures ever since the attacks of September 11, 2001. Well, that's how long he's been defending. It's been going on before that. But who can you believe when you have Chinese and Russian press, as well as pro-Assad media saying one thing and then pro-NATO papers saying another? Well, he brings up the report of one Daniel Iriarte from the Spanish Royalist newspaper, who's completely anti-Assad, but he himself has been with the Free Syrian Army for some time and reports that there are at least 600, quote, volunteers from Al-Qaeda in Libya now working with the Syrian army, and that they are, in fact, de facto guided by Belhaj. So there you have it. NATO-backed Al-Qaeda not only running the operation in Libya, but now working to undermine Syria in the so-called civil war there. More destabilization from the West in that hotbed region of the Middle East. We'll keep an eye on that whole area, of course. Meanwhile, speculation drives up food prices as bankers gamble on hunger. This is an article in the London Guardian discussing how last year the price of global food floated high as ever. That's bad news for most of us, but not for those who trade commodities. In fact, 2011 was a great year for the traders who thrive on bad news, currency woes, drought, flood, freeze, fire, and all other manifestations of imminent collapse. And this article gets in depth into all the speculation and derivatives surrounding the new food bubble. They've tapped one Professor Yanir Bar-Yam of the New England Complex Systems Institute, who's written the thesis, Food Crisis, a Quantitative Model of Food Prices, including Speculators and Ethanol Conversion. So it's all these green policies pushing for ethanol crops, as well as the hedge fund and derivative speculators driving up the price of food. And it gets into the biofuel mandates and other reasons why there's this new casino of derivative products surrounding what everyone relies on in this world, food, and why there's so many starving people. But he has a model that is, quote, no ordinary widget. Speculation in commodity markets is not simply a matter of financial predation, the article writes. The high prices of food have resulted in accumulations of inventories at a time when people can't afford food. Then goes on to discuss how this model, which predicts food prices, also predicted the Arab Spring, including the uprisings in Tunisia, Libya, and Egypt, and citing food prices as one of the major factors there. Moreover, he predicts riots and revolutions will go global sometime between July 2012 and August 2013. So then he calls for more international law and regulations surrounding food derivatives crisis and this big bubble. Kind of a problem on both sides because we don't want more international law guiding us, but of course we want people to be able to eat. I should point out that this entire Guardian blog was officially sponsored by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, the Poverty Matters blog. So I wouldn't exactly call that unbiased journalism, but of course it is an issue. It's something that Lord Monckton and even people like Steve Shank with eFoods have talked about in depth, and they've only been proven right that they're driving up the food prices for really all the wrong reasons. Not because of actual food supply that tell us that the population is overrunning the food. No, it's because of these crazy green biofuel products and just the speculation. Anyway, switching gears as we get ready for this really big, incredible Oklahoma City bombing interview, we wanted to bring up why Oklahoma is still important, and that is because the globalists will do it again. They've been waiting for the right time, and we're in this storm of political dissent They're looking to crack down on this country and all of it. And even people like Glenn Beck, who've cast total doubt on 9/11 truthers and all the rest of it, have raised the possibility that the administration, Obama administration, or the Democrats, or for that matter, Glenn, anyone on the Republican side, would be willing to stage another Oklahoma City bombing to drive home a political agenda and blame their political enemies. Let's play that clip now.
How can the left win the country? Watch.
Cabinets don't really sell things. The president himself has to reconnect with the people. Remember, President Clinton reconnected through Oklahoma, right? And the president right now, he seems removed. And it wasn't until that speech that he re-clicked with the American public. Obama needs a similar kind
You think
of
words will
event.
work for... Obama needs a similar kind of event. Oh, like Oklahoma City. I will be the guy who causes the next Oklahoma City. This is in a letter, an appeal to advertisers of Fox. Dear Fox advertisers, read this part of it. No one, left, right, center, wants to see another Oklahoma City. The next assassin may succeed. If so, there will be blood on many hands. They are setting up another Oklahoma City. They are claiming that one is coming, and they've already marked the one who caused it. I will be the guy who causes the next Oklahoma City.
So what we're saying here is that there's a perfect storm of blaming domestic extremists, blaming patriots, blaming anyone who's outside of the left-right paradigm. And whereas the globalists would love to stage another event, seize more power, and corral the country back into their narrow paradigm of spectrum of thought, they will also blame anyone working outside of that spectrum, even a puppet speaker like Glenn Beck, if they can, in order to drive home that agenda and diffuse any dissenters who have a significant voice. You better believe Alex Jones is at the very top of that list, as well as so many other great alternative news researchers. Now, we do have that Oklahoma City interview coming up, but first we want to play a few clips from A Nobel Lie, an incredible film that covers so much of that very big lie, that total false flag in 1995, which was really just a precursor for the big one, 9/11. Let's play now clips from Hoppy Heidelberg, who we have joining us in just a few moments. Let's play the first one.
It was just too important to the American people to know what happened there for me to keep quiet, because nobody else was going to speak up. The other grand jurors were petrified because they observed on a daily basis the kind of intimidation tactics that were used by the Department of Justice attorneys to attempt to keep me under control. And when they found out about the FBI visits to my home, I really shook them up. Now they're even scared to talk to me in the men's room. And mostly it was a John Doe 2 thing, because as you remember, it was the greatest manhunt there's ever been. And then all of a sudden,